everyone. It is a crazy and confusing world out there today when you're trying to buy lights. How many of you have been to Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, Walmart, or your local hardware store lately trying to buy lights? It is really confusing as far as all the labeling and nomenclature that the new lighting and the variety has. Just as an example in front of me here, these are lights, EcoSmart brand from Home Depot, GE brand, Reveal and Refresh from Lowe's, Walmart brand, I think a hardware store or Target brand, and every one of these are a little bit different look and feel as far as the labeling and nomenclature. Hi, I'm Bruce Quernemoen. I'm a real estate photographer and videographer located in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, specifically in McKinney, part of Collin County, one of the fastest growing areas in the country right now. I've been a real estate photographer full-time now for 3 years, really since COVID. I've been inside and filmed and photographed over 1,000 homes, and specifically last year 437 homes. So I've seen a lot of variety of lighting. I've seen homes with great lighting, poor lighting, and then a mix mash where they have some daylight bulbs, which are the bright white ones, or the traditional yellow ones. Now today in real estate, when people are looking for homes, I constantly hear this, they're always looking for the feel of a light and bright home. Now, homes that are built probably 25 plus years ago had a lot of dark wood floors, dark kitchen cabinets. A lot of them were painted in a cream color, yellowish gold tones, light green or blue tones. And for photography, when you're trying to take photos of a house like that, it's really difficult and also just walking through, looking at those homes, it doesn't give you that light, bright feeling. It's more like dark and drab or dark and dingy. So the lighting makes a big difference there. Now, the lighting industry really has done a disservice to all of us, I believe. They came out with the LED, last longer, more efficient, but now they have all the different nomenclatures, and it's all related to Kelvin, and no one really understands the whole concept of Kelvin and the spectrum of light. And the labeling on the boxes are actually not even on the front of the boxes, on the back. So what I want to do now is just kind of walk you through some examples of homes I've been in. I'm going to go through some of the labeling of the boxes. We're going to talk about Kelvin, and then I'm going to talk about at the end some of my recommendations. So let's get started. Okay, folks, what I'd like to do right now then is just kind of walk you through some examples of the typical lighting aisle at like Home Depot, Lowe's, things like that. So like here's some daylight white. This is the EcoSmart brand. It talks about LED, daylight. Then we get the EcoSmart bright white. Now, here's the biggest confusion part of this is that it says bright white, so you think that's going to be a fluorescent type, white. When in fact a bright white, the Kelvin rating on the box, we'll go through in a little bit here, is actually a yellowish bulb, which is the background, but it talks about bright white, so that is totally confusing there as far as the names they're using on some of these. And then here's a soft white. So soft white is a little bit more on the yellowish orangish tone, which the color helps on this, but that's the way EcoSmart labels theirs. And then now we're probably over at Lowe's here, and there again you have the different brands of Relax, Refresh, Relax, Reveal, and we're going to go through what those actually mean, because it's very confusing because all you see is white light here, and those aren't all white light. And then we get into some of the more of the same type bulb. Here we get into some of the special bulbs, the floodlights, and now what you're finding is like in the middle here is where you used to screw in the bulb, now you can actually have an all-in-one canister and the bulb, and you're just screwing in this wire, and then there's some wires here that actually snap that thing into the existing socket. In this case, Reveal, Refresh, you can actually, there's a switch on here, you can switch that light between those two. Then we get into decorative lights. Again, we got the same thing here. With GE, you got the 3 different colorations of lights, and then more specialty lights, the outdoor floodlights, and now we're over at I think Walmart. Their lights look different here, and there's so many, as you can tell here in the aisle. Okay, now I'm going to switch over. I want to look now at some of the examples that I have seen in my my real estate pictures this last year. Beautiful home here, but these walls in this room are the same color of walls in this room, in the foyer. And notice here they have daylight white here, and then they have traditional yellow bulbs here, and it just gives a different look and feel. And whereas these walls are the same color as the walls out in the foyer area. Beautiful kitchen here, and they have the daylight white here, but yet over here they have the traditional yellow. And again, these walls are the same color as the kitchen walls, but you would never know it by the lights they have here. Bathroom, I don't know why they would do this, but we have different lights over the vanities there. Now here's several things going on here. You got different lights over the island here. Then under cabinet lighting, you have daylight white here, you have yellowish lights here, and there's nothing here. So if you're taking real estate photography, you want, basically, I want this here, I want the daylight in the ceiling, I like this color, and then these should be the same color as these, and this one should have a light on. Bad lights here. These are the yellowish lights over here, and you got some daylight here, and then another yellow one out here. And ideally, if you had daylight here and here, everything would look nice and bright, and light walls, gray tone walls. Another bathroom vanity. One bulb is the light. Here's a family game room. You got different lights there. And again, this is another, the living area and kitchen is the daylight white. The other one is traditional yellowish light. This is really a sad one to me. This is actually a model home of a builder, and they had different lights and lamps in the foyer as you enter. Again, beautiful home here, but it's just with the orangish lights in the chandelier, it takes these gray walls and just does some crazy things on the lights there. Same thing with this office. This home here, again, these walls here are the same color as they are out here, but yet with the lights in here, you have the yellowish orangish tones there. I think the same room here, only you got the foyer, nice bright. But then if these had been daylight white, then everything would have looked really kind of, I think, good, kind of light, bright feeling. And again here, beautiful home here again. A lot of wood floors. They got the wood paneling, wood staircase. They have a creamish, kind of brownish paint here, but because of the chandelier, it really kind of gives a wrong tone here. Whereas if they had the daylight white like they have here, you'd actually come in and you'd see everything consistent. And that's really, as a real estate photographer and as a real estate agent, you'd want consistent lighting so when people come in, they have a consistency of lighting throughout the house. A couple pictures on Kelvin. So Kelvin is the spectrum of light, and basically it starts down about 0, but at 1000, which doesn't show up here, that is kind of a yellowish orange light. 2000 is where you get more of the yellow, and then 3000 gets brighter, and then 5000 is actually the daylight white. I have the red line here because typically for a house, you pretty much want 5000 and below. When you see these 6000, 7000, 8000, this is when you get into surgery rooms where you want really the bright light. You get more of the bluish tone you can see here. But for a home, you pretty much want 5000 and below. And traditional lighting, we call Edison lighting, or what people are calling today is soft light, bright white, are in this 26, 27, 28, 2900 category right here. So a lot of the traditional lights would be in this category right here, whereas daylight white in the LED is the 5000. And that's probably, this is my preference, is daylight white, which is Kelvin 5000. Go one more slide. Actually, I did a workshop this last year with some realtor agents at Lights Fantastic over in the Colony, right on 121, and they have a huge showroom on lights, and this was one of the rooms that they have, kind of showing where you have a 2700 Kelvin, where you have the yellowish lights, all the way up to 4100, and then you can go one more, they didn't have the 5000 in there, but they have the 4100. But you can see, if you're in a closet, when you get into this low lighting, it's very difficult to tell the difference between blue and black. That's why you see guys sometimes have one blue sock and one black sock on. Okay. Also in the T's here, you can see a little bit here, difference between blue and black here. But definitely as you get up into this category here, you can tell these are blue shoes and these are black, as far as the T's as well. Okay, let's go one more here. Okay, now I'm going to go a little bit, kind of a little education on light bulbs here. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to focus on the GE Relax. They're LED. This would be a front of a box. Typically, when you talk about these bulbs like this, you're probably talking $3 or $4 a bulb. So you can get a pack of 4, for like $13, $14, $15. But so it's 60 watt. Okay, their brightness is 800 lumens, which is probably new to everybody, and they're dimmable. So the other big thing nowadays is try to get dimmable lights. But in this case, you don't want, in my opinion, you don't want the Relax, because that is the soft white, which is, and we'll show one more slide here. Okay, this is lumens on the side of the box is 2700. So now you're going to get the yellowish light from this. Let's go to the next one. Now this is Reveal. So the previous one was, that was Relax. So Relax was the lowest yellowish light. Then we get into Reveal. And again, you've got dimmable here, 60 watt. If you look at the side of the box here, now we get to 2900 Kelvin. So it's not that much higher, but it is less yellowish. Okay. And then if we go one more, now we get Refresh. So Refresh, they call it Energetic Daylight, 60 watt, again 800 brightness of lumens, and it's dimmable. But now if you go to the side of the box here, you'll notice this is 5000 Kelvin. So this is my preferred lights for real estate photography. Would be the daylight white. And then one more thing here. As you're doing cans, you can get the bulbs to replace your existing, but a lot of people now are buying what we call an all-in-one. So the fixture and the light are all-in-one. This screws into the existing socket where your light bulb would go, and then there's some wires here that would actually help you clamp this up into the existing socket. But what's neat about this is that actually it's got switches up here, so you can actually switch between a yellowish tone or the 5000 and the bright daylight white. And again, this is Elco lighting, 4-inch LED. They're dimmable, and they actually show on the side of the box here how you can switch between the low orangish all the way up to the 5000 Kelvin. So now I want to go through some examples of great lighting, homes that I have filmed this last year, and kind of show you what's going on here. Now this is a great lighting right here. They don't have the 5000 Kelvin. These are 4000 Kelvin can lights, but also what is supplemental is the daylight. Now it just happens to be that sunlight is 5000 Kelvin. So when you're getting 5000 Kelvin lights, you get the same color inside and out. So when you're taking video and photography, if you have 5000 Kelvin inside, which matches the daylight outside, now you can actually see outside like the eye sees it. A lot of real estate photography I've seen, it's not mine, but the outside gets washed out because the lighting inside isn't the same as it is outside. Again, you got the skylights here, and these are the 4000 Kelvin can lights. Okay, now this house, pretty much very bright and light. They've used the 5,000 daylight Kelvin in the can lights as well as over the chandeliers here, but yet in the kitchen counter lighting or under cabinet lighting, they've kind of gone with the traditional, which kind of emphasizes the coloration of the stone here in the back, or maybe tile. Okay, I think this is the same house. This is actually in Stonebridge, McKinney. Pretty much, you see all the daylight white here, and which really lights up the room great. Plus, then it mimics the outside daylight white, so you can actually have good visibility to the outside as the eye would see it. This is the same house with the bedroom. Again, all daylight white lights. Beautiful home over in Plano. Now, what they've done here is they have the can lights are all 5,000 Kelvin, but then some of their accent lighting is traditional. So basically what would they do in the evening when the sun goes down, you turn off the overhead lights, and now you have the fire, and then pretty much all your other lamps and lights are the lower yellowish, but yet it gives you more of the ambience that you're looking for. Same house in Plano. Different home here. Now what they've done here is they got the daylight white can lights, but then the chandelier is more of the yellowish orangish tone. Again, same concept. When you turn off at night, turn off the overhead can lights, now you have the ambience in the room. So again, it's the same house here. And then I want the last one here. So again, we have daylight white can lights, and then we have the chandeliers, which are the more of the yellowish. And because of the can lights are all daylight white, that gives enough light so these yellowish chandeliers aren't overpowering, and so you still get the light and brightness of walking through a home, as well as the ambience that you want in the evening. Another home similar here where you have the yellowish lights, but you have the daylight white can lights. Okay, let's do a little wrap up here. And I hope you all had a little bit better education on some of the concepts I showed in the homes, and maybe to take a look at your own home as far as what your lighting looks like and things like that, and how it compares, or just a better idea when you're buying light bulbs and how to look for the right nomenclature so you're buying bulbs that you want to replace. But I want to talk about, just in summary here, to real estate agents. I firmly believe that the best pictures I can take as a photographer and any other photographer is when there's more of the daylight white lights in the house. And specifically, what I really like to see is the entryways, the foyers, the main kitchen area, the great room, family rooms, all with daylight white, and specifically the can lights, all daylight white. Now, some designers I've talked to and other people say, well, I don't like the 5,000 Kelvin. I'd rather have the 4,000 Kelvin, which is fine. It's still a good lighting, but the daylight is predominant. Most boxes of lights you buy, have daylight white, which is the 5,000 Kelvin. Now, also what you find is, okay, I don't want a house with all daylight white. That's fine, but I think a minimum for me would be all the can lights, in the foyer, living, dining areas, things like that, and your family rooms should be the daylight white. Now, for ambience, then you can have your chandeliers being, the yellow, more of the yellowish lights. So at night, you can still have that ambience by turning off the overhead can lights, and you still have your, the ambience you want to create with the yellowish lights. But by all means, you really need to have consistent lighting. So when you go into a room, all the lighting fixtures should have all the same color light bulbs. And you've seen some of my examples here, that is a must. So that's kind of wrapping up at least some of my thoughts there. Now, I'm more than happy to visit with anybody on lighting. I would like to go to Lowe's or Home Depot with you, and as you're trying to educate yourself on lighting, and also maybe even come to your home to help you better on your lighting examples. And then any real estate agents out there, more than happy, is complimentary just to help you in your lighting selections as you're trying to list homes and get good photography of the homes. Because as we all are aware that good photography on your listing photos will also bring more people to want to look at that house versus dark and drab on your listing photos. So listing photos are really key, and as far as having the good lighting when the photographer is taking those photos. So anyway, wrap up here. Bruce Quernemoen, Stonebridge Videography and Photography, and thank you for listening today.